QPR, QPR, Chris Rangers are on the up and up. QPR, QPR, now we're heading for European Cup.
Hello and welcome to Open All R's, the QPR podcast. I am David Fraser and I'm joined by three other QPR fans this week. We have regulars from ITV Sport, Chris Mendes.
Hello.
Hello, Christopher. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good, good. And we also have from Independent R's, Paul Finney.
All right.
The newly haircutted Paul Finney. I was doing that, so Chris just leant across to Paul and pulled his jumper,
He's got the
his
biggest
arm jumper down because
He's
all
got
we
the
could
biggest
see.
knob on his.
He's got
watch.
the biggest knob on his watch you've ever seen in your life, which we need to take a picture of for Twitter. And all we could see was this this relatively big knob poking out of Paul's jumper. And so we had to see it. I think we need a picture of that, Chris. You were wearing a watch with a very big knob, Paul.
Some would say I am a very big knob.
Well, I think that was the
inference
subtext of that whole
okay.
discussion. But thanks for putting the subtitles on it for everyone.
I'm just explaining to people like me who I probably are, but I don't care anymore. You can insult me all night long. I've had a terrible day, and I've come here to have fun.
Why have you had a terrible day, professionally or personally? If it's personal, we'll leave it. If it's professional, we can spend a couple of minutes talking about it.
Every day is a bad day for me, isn't it? Really? Have you ever read my Twitter account?
Yeah. And we also have second timer Simon Raine,
Hiya.
also
Thanks
known
for
as
having
Simon James Raine on Twitter.
He doesn't know what cider is. Just saying.
So you didn't buy Paul cider. So thank you for the beers this week. The beers this week have been bought by Simon James Raine.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you very much. Which is an occasional tradition that was started by Rahul, wasn't it? I think he started it.
Gemma, wasn't it?
So, perhaps one or both of them started by bringing in the beers. It is not a requirement of any QPR podcast guest, but it's nevertheless
A blue
very
brand as well, which
But
is
no one's
great.
ever actually
Good
brought
attention
in.
to detail.
But no one's ever actually brought in cider. I'm just saying that as a bitter person.
I did ask for some gluten-free beer in the wine shop, so I did try.
I think we should have like a regular cider section from Finney.
Well, this is Brewdog Punk IPA. So thank you very much.
Anyway,
for
for those still listening.
Just to say, a little plug, we do quite often, we have a little button on our website where you can buy us the beers for the evening. It's a form of sponsorship, for want of a better word, and it's always appreciated because the podcast is free, is always free to listen to, but all donations gratefully received, I suppose is the phrase that they say. That website, in case you're wondering, is qprpod.co.uk. Go there, there's all the information on us, previous episodes and so on. You can follow us on Twitter as well, and please do interact with us. Follow us at QPRpod. Right, okay. We're very late. It's Thursday now. We usually record on a Monday. I think that due to basically illnesses and better halves telling us we have to be in other places and all the rest of it, we couldn't record on Monday. So we do apologise for that, but it's given us a few extra things to talk about. We've got a really good interview, we hope, coming up in about 5-10 minutes' time with Joel Lynch. So stay tuned for that. But before that, let's talk about Saturday, which seems a hell of a long time ago. Lunchtime Saturday. 1-1 draw with Fulham. Who would like to begin?
I'll go then. I think Saturday summed up where we've come from a long journey in the last few months. That Fulham were a decent side. They passed the ball around really well. They held possession brilliantly for them. Of course, they cheated and dived all over the park, but we won't go into that. And we had the referee that Mr. Magoo would be ashamed to have as his brother. And the most biased referee I've seen in a long time. Seriously, I mean, anyway.
So some people accuse us on this podcast occasionally of being a little bit old and talking about events gone by from years and years ago, not necessarily catering for the younger fans. So I'm asking this on their behalf, Paul. Explain who Mr. Magoo is.
You youngsters have a thing called a computer and Google. I wish you well with that.
He was someone who couldn't see. He was the latter day you should have gone to Specsavers.
He was Rob Stiles. For the younger ones.
Yeah, go on.
Anyway, and the referee, like that bit where the Fulham player missed and he gave him a corner. I mean, seriously, you can't make stuff like that up. You have to. I mean, I hope his assessor makes him manage or referee somewhere really bad.
He had a poor game, but to be fair to him, the penalty decision was the assistant's decision. Who I think he gave it. It was just so
Still
bad.
wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was actually outrageous. And your man should have been booked, if I'm going to be brutally honest about it.
for diving. Yeah.
Yeah, but if that had been a QPR player gone down, we wouldn't have got the penalty. I'll tell you that now. Yeah. But never mind, we look much better.
But does it matter when you have smoothies?
Oh, how good is that, by the way? Has he got the best ratio of any QPR goalkeeper with penalties? He must have.
He must do. He saved 6 out of 10 this season.
He's saved more penalties than he's let in.
The only person I can think that came close to that was Jan Stejskal in my lifetime for saving penalties.
Even before he came to QPR, he had a really good record for penalties.
We're going to be really lucky to hang on to him, you know.
Well, I don't think we will.
No,
I
This,
don't think
this
we will.
month, I think we will.
Oh, this month we will, but I think in the summer we won't. But you know what? We have a very good goalkeeper on the bench, and we'll make a few quid
Yeah, but
off
that-
him. I'm not saying I want him to go. I guess I'm being a pragmatist.
But
about
how good was
it.
that save when your man, the 24 whatever, put it in and he tipped it over the bar? I mean, that was world class. That was actually superb. But I think he's probably the best goalkeeper outside the Premiership, but I probably would say because I'm biased.
He's our best goalkeeper since when? Since who?
Well,
Paul?
you could probably say David Seaman if you take out the fact that David Seaman let in a lot of free kicks.
I would say David Seaman.
Or I used to like a guy called I've forgotten his name.
Jan Stejskal.
You loved him.
No,
Sommer.
Nicky Johns. I used to like Nicky Johns. He was a good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You know, sort of
He
like,
was the sort of reserve goalie for Peter Hucker once upon a time. Paul
well,
Barron,
that was
wasn't he?
No, he came after Seaman.
I know, but he didn't have an extended stay in the QPR team. Listen, they'll probably induct
was
him
low
into the Forever R's next week.
By the way, what's your views on Tony Roberts as a goalkeeper? That's always a strange one.
Absolutely awful. Yeah, I can remember
Lovable.
being 6'7",
Lovable.
a character, but a quality of goalkeeper. Not fond memories at all.
I wouldn't go that far. I think he was a decent servant to the club. He always appeared to be too small.
Considering he was missing a few fingers, I thought he was okay.
Is he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
No.
yeah, I'm pretty
I
sure.
really hope to God that's true.
He gives the illusion of being a short goalie, which kind of always made. I don't know if he is. He's probably like 5'11" anyway, but he looks.
Nah, he's short.
He looks short.
But he's born the same day as me, and we're exactly the same age and everything. And I think,
He's wearing it better. No offense.
oh Jesus, everyone wears it better than me. I look like death. But the thing is, going back to the goalkeeper thing, it makes such a difference, doesn't it, to have a team that you know when normally when the opposition are attacking, I watch from behind my seat and cry. Now you're thinking, Smithies has got this. He's all right. He
Yeah.
can deal with this. And that penalty save, I knew he was going to save it. And Chris Martin, you're not just a crap singer at Coldplay, you're crap at penalties.
When we played
Fulham are
Huddersfield,
bad at penalties, aren't they?
yeah.
They keep missing them. Sorry, Chris.
I was just going to say, when we played Huddersfield, we spoke to some of their fans before the game, and they said Smithy's great shot stopper, great at saving penalties. He was just a bit suspect at crosses, but I haven't noticed that too much.
No, he grabbed a few on Saturday quite well, actually, in the second half.
Yeah, maybe he's been working on it.
Do you know who I felt sorry for on Saturday? If I'm going to be honest, you're going to accuse me of being biased again, but Conor Washington, I did feel sorry for him because he had to just put that shot away. It could have been his.
One thing I noticed as well
We
is
should get someone to sponsor that segment.
kind of
The bit where you talk, the bit where you talk about Conor Washington.
A sliding doors moment.
Yeah.
Were you waiting for it to happen?
This is
aren't you?
the Paul Finney talks about Conor Washington
do we
segment,
not- don't we want
sponsored
it to
by
happen?
Ridgewell Windows and Doors.
Hey, lovely windows.
I did
Don't we
notice,
want it to
though,
happen though?
as soon as he came on, like maybe 2 minutes after he came on for Silla, there was someone put in a really nice ball, and it was just the kind of ball that Silla could have headed in, but it wasn't ideal for Washington. I just wondered whether that substitution was the right thing to do, but it's easy to say that in hindsight.
This is going to sound... I'm potentially sounding really, really stupid here, but I've only just made this connection. Did Smithies and Lynch play together extensively
they
at
did at
Huddersfield?
Yeah,
Oh, well, that's something we can ask him, and I can pretend like I thought about it hours ago.
let's do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say you were stupid. That role is taken by me in the podcast. You're the sensible one, remember, David?
Simon, what did you think about Saturday and recent form? Another one who's brought notes. Well done.
Tried my best.
Scary.
I mean, the main reason I go to football is for excitement and entertainment. To be honest, I'm not so bothered about player development, club progression, where we sit in the league. And on Saturday, for the first time in a long time, I actually got off my seat, and even at some stages ran down the stairs. I got so animated. Anyone knows me, that is a big kind of never happens. So it's actually an exciting football game for once, which makes kind of so much difference. There's actually some crowd interaction, which has not happened for a long time. It probably helped that Bertram was going absolutely kind of crazy on the touchline. That's a good or a bad thing, depending on your point of view. But in general, it was exciting. In relation to the game, I think the fallacy of possession football is finally kind of completely going out the window. I mean, Fulham had 75% possession.
That much?
Did they actually do anything with it? Relatively not. So kind of things are looking up. I think we're still relatively quite shaky in the back. Smithies is actually having an excellent season, but is he making up for some weakness in the centre-back positions? I mean, he's been a great club servant, but a noter, I think he's really starting to struggle, and long term, I don't think he has the quality if we want to kind of progress as a club.
I don't know. I actually thought on Saturday, with this new rule that Hull's doing coming in, I knew was actually getting slightly more confident with Lynch as well. And we were starting to do things in defence we weren't doing before, like we weren't messing up as much, but it's all how we see it, I suppose. I actually think the defence has got better, especially with Furlong coming in as well. And Bidwell's game's got a lot better as well. That's my personal opinion.
The thing with Anua is that, he's got a lot of experience and he's not unbelievable. He's pretty solid. So if you do replace him, you do need to keep that balance of youth players and experienced players. And you'd have to replace him with someone who's experienced. It's a lot easier to find these young and upcoming players, but not so much finding the players who've played over like 200 games of championship football.
I think when Anua gives up football, he'll be a judge. He's got that look about him. You just know he is going to be. He's super intelligent when he came in the podcast and what he was like and everything else. And it's kind of
he's like he's like quote unquote the failure of his family, as in he's the only one that hasn't got like a really super spotty professional job. Because I've met his sister a couple of times, and he's got, I think he's one of four, and they're all like accountants and solicitors and all this, and he's the one who kicks the ball around. For
Maybe
everything.
he should retire.
So you're probably right.
He should retire and mastermind our ascent into the Premier League.
It's true. It's true.
I think in relation to the Fulham game, there's kind of one player that we've not mentioned, which we have to, is Ryan Manning, just absolutely kind of phenomenal. And it's been great. He's actually kind of given a chance because he was out of the club up until a few weeks ago. So hopefully he'll progress.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
You have to give Holloway a lot of credit for that. Because he was on his way out of the club.
Can we do the sliding doors thing again? Because I like doing that last week. Okay, carry on.
So you're saying his sliding doors moment, for anybody that either didn't listen to or didn't get it last week, Paul said his sliding doors moment was apparently this kid was told by the club to find another club and he had no future, and Holloway walked in and said, "Oh, actually, let's have a look at him." And fast forward a couple of weeks and he signed a new contract and he's in the first team.
Well, he's got an engine on him, and that's what Holloway likes about him initially, and then since then he's come on a lot since he made his debut.
They did their best to decapitate him on Saturday as well, didn't they? They targeted him all game, and he stood up to every single challenge.
The end of the game was just ludicrous, where he got picked off the floor and thrown to the ground.
Yeah.
How that player wasn't sent off?
Because the referee was a numpty.
What I liked about Manning as well is that he wasn't afraid to take a shot from outside the area. I know he had a couple that were blocked, went out for a corner, one of them I remember, but it's good to have players in the midfield because we haven't had any for a while who want to do that.
But it's also the fact that someone's come in who is getting better and better and better, and you can see that sometimes it's best to give players a chance.
You've got to give them a chance.
This nonsense of like
they're not good enough
and booing players all the time, and you've got to do it in your first 3 games. You've got to give players a chance, for God's sake. And he will be either one of the best finds we've had, or if it doesn't happen with him, it'll happen with someone else. But he certainly take this chance.
Well, we've sat there through several interviews. I think it was Redknapp said, I've got news for you. He said, someone said something like, listen, these players coming here, they ain't good enough to play in the first team. You can't know until you put them in there and put them in there for more than one game. You've got to give these guys a chance. Furlong is starting to look like the real deal now. That's been a process. He got a handful of games 2-3 years ago, then he went out on loan, and now he comes back and he looks comfortable and he looks ready. But he was one of those players that we were told by more than one person isn't good enough for the first team, isn't kind of going to make it. You've got to give these players a chance. The thing that I thought on Saturday is and a few people have said this, is it's starting to look like what Ian Holloway promised he was going to do.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to win every week. We're not going to go on an amazing run and go up the league and sneak into the playoffs. I don't think. But what you are going to get. Sorry, excuse me. I've just pulled my microphone out and slightly been lost for words. Right, let me start again. What you are going to get from a Holloway team, and this team is a team that cares, a team that goes for it. They're organised. They play this. What was it? The high press, the pressing football that Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank was talking about. And you finally got a team that care in these West London derbies and these London derbies against Fulham. And okay, I know we've won since those horrible, horrible fixtures and results 2-3 years ago, the 6-0, and we let him 4 away at Fulham another game, didn't we?
Too many times.
And I always felt the players didn't get it. They didn't care enough. And Fulham always turned up to those games. And the other West London teams always turned up. Well, we turned up on Saturday. It's probably a fair result, but even if we had have kind of not come away with it, not come away with anything, you still would have felt that actually this team really cared and really went for it. And they're an Ian Holloway team.
I think what you've got as well, you've got all that kicking off from the bench, which I'm not saying is right or good or we should do it every week, but you wouldn't have got that under Jimmy Floyd. Whatever we look at it, you got Birch, their manager, apparently was offended that our player failed in their area. So he then, and Birch is straight in his face, and the players feed off that. And what you are having now, players are looking out for each other. You can see it. If we just had someone to finish, we would have won that game. But that's something to look forward to. We know where we're going. We just need a finisher.
These last few games that we've played, but how they've just been so much more enjoyable to watch than anything we had up until then. Maybe take away the first game of the season, that was really good. But the football under Jimmy after that first game was just so dull. Yeah. And the last few games have been really, really positive.
I think what's helped as well, we actually have a semblance of a system now. Under Hasselbank, I couldn't tell you what our style was, what our formation was. Now we have a semblance of a system. Hall has been put in an absolutely fantastic position, has kind of cemented that role of kind of holding in between the midfield and the defence. And we're actually attacking with some guile as well now. So long may it continue.
Okay, well, we covered that pretty comprehensively. Well said. We're going to talk to Joel Lynch now. I was thinking this afternoon, I've never heard an interview with him. I've never heard a voice. Have you?
No.
Have you? Simon, Paul?
No.
What do we think he sounds like? Before we get on the phone, what do we think he sounds like? Is he? Yeah, go on.
So he's grew up in Brighton, Brighton youth team, so southern.
Okay, fine. Okay, I was kind of hoping for more of a northern drawl, not having known where he was born, but obviously we're not going to get that.
That role the podcast is taken.
Like more Cockney or more like kind of, sort of not quite hardcore Cockney. He'll be a bit more relaxed.
Really high pitched.
You think high pitched? Yeah. Paul?
I think he could possibly sound like a southern version of Sean Dyche.
A southern version of Sean Dyche. Here he is. Joel, thanks for joining us. It's been probably a bit of a crazy few weeks for you and the QPR squad. Tell us how you felt with everything that's gone on, particularly since Ian Holloway's come in.
Obviously positive for myself. I've been playing games. You know what I mean? He's come in and I've played the games. I think there's been a massive change around. Everything in the club has changed. But I think everything's been positive and it's been showing in the last few weeks in the way we're playing and the results we're getting. So it's just positive, really.
And what would you say? This is more of a question about Ollie rather than previous managers. But what do you think he's brought in particular to the squad that has led to almost this change around and this sort of mini run of positive results?
I definitely think he's a motivator. I think professional footballers shouldn't really need to be motivated, but especially if there's a manager who can get a good feeling about the team and that confidence within the squad, then it's going to get results and it's going to get you points when it's not going well for you as well. When it's all going against you, you're sort of going to. He gives the squad a bit of a togetherness, and I think that showed. Where at times in games where we're sort of hanging on, we've stayed in games and got results. I think he's brought that togetherness within the whole squad.
Joel, one thing we've noticed in the last few weeks, both from the performances and from what Ollie's been saying in his interviews is that he likes players to run around. He likes this team to be fit. Has he brought in any kind of like extra fitness regimes or tests into training?
Yeah, he's got one. He's got one run that you have to do, and it has to be completed within a certain time. Otherwise, you're sort of deemed not fit to play, really.
Presumably, Pavel's good at that.
Yeah, Pavel. Yeah, it's just too easy for him. I think he needs a different level of a run. But yeah, you've got to complete it within a certain time to sort of to pass yourself fit or to pass fit, and everyone has had to do the run. Do you know what I mean? And then if you don't do it in the right time, you'll have to do it again until you can do it. Do you know what I mean? So your fitness has obviously got to be at a certain level, but I don't think training's got any harder or anything. I think it's just I think the manager's brought that in as sort of what's expected of us at the very minimum.
And Joe, what's Mark like around the place? Because obviously everyone knows that Mark's a massive Rangers fan. Does that come across with his coaching as well?
Yeah, definitely. The more and more I've sort of got to know him, obviously you sort of understand how much his love for the club and his passion for the club, and I think that sort of rubs off as well around the dressing room. I think, yeah, he's good. He's a good coach, and I think he's sort of he's good with the lads as well. I think obviously managers aren't so as close to the lads. Obviously Holloway is, and he tries to get amongst the lads and to motivate them as much as he can. But Birch is just sort of in amongst the lads all the time, sort of talking to the lads, trying to. I think obviously he's sort of just always closer to the lads than what the manager is, and I think that's a good thing to have.
So which one of you guys? Sorry, Joe, which one of you guys is going to get blue hair then?
Sorry?
Which one of you guys is going? Mark was famous for playing for Rangers with blue hair. Who's going to carry that mantle?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think it'll be myself. My hair's falling out.
I know that feeling well, fella. I know that feeling.
Yeah, so I don't think it'll be me, but yeah, I'm sure someone might get persuaded.
Hi, Joe. It's Simon here. I believe you played with Alex Smithies at Huddersfield, and obviously QPR again, and you're relatively quite good friends.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been an actually unbelievable season and absolute great quality. What are your thoughts of him as a goalkeeper, and your thoughts of how we actually managed to keep it hold of him?
Yeah, I think with Smiths, he's always been such a. I think he's been well known for like how good he is in the Championship. He started off at a young age, and he's played a lot of games for it. But since I've known him, I think at Huddersfield, obviously he was sort of Mr. Huddersfield, and he was just you just knew exactly what you're going to get from him every week. He's just a class keeper, top Championship keeper. But since I've been at QPR, I think just he'll probably tell you himself, just from his confidence, the things that he's doing now in games, his distribution, his saves that he's making all the time. He's sort of going to the next level, and for QPR to have a keeper like that, for any Championship side to have a keeper like Alex Smithies, it's just a massive. It's just he's just a massive asset for the club at the minute.
And Joel, talk us through this formation that we're playing at the moment in defence. So I guess what it looks like is that we're told that there's this system where Grant Hall plays in further up the field in midfield when we have the ball, and drops back into central defence when we don't have the ball. Have you played in a system formation like that before? And whether you have or haven't, how are you adapting to it under the new manager?
Yeah. So Hawley sort of obviously has to step in, so he's got like two roles. It's different for me. I've sort of played a flat three at the back, where you're sort of literally just a flat three, and you step in when you can. But for us to sort of change when we've got the ball and without the ball is completely different. Obviously, it's not any harder or different from me or Nedham, but obviously Hawley has got to play two positions, so it's harder than you think for him. So I think the more and more we grow with confidence, I think he can step in more and get more involved in the play, which he's brilliant on the ball. I think, sort of the more and more we control games, I think he'll get the opportunity to step in more, and we'll have that extra man. We should really be able to dominate games more and more the more confident we get.
Joel, you've had an impressive career in League One and the Championship. What would it mean to you to get promoted to the Premier League next season, perhaps? And how far away do you think QPR are from having a team capable of challenging for promotion?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I came to QPR. I mean, I think that it's always been, in my eyes, a massive team. It's always been there or thereabouts, and that's exactly the sole reason why I came here. I definitely feel like QPR has got it in the next season to really push on and mount a challenge. I think we've sort of needed our time with the new manager to sort of settle in and get used to his new ways of playing and everything. And I definitely feel like I think if we can end the season on a high, we can definitely look forward to next season, maybe bring in a couple of new faces and really become like a strong Championship side. I think it's obviously taken time. There's been a massive transition at the club, but I think QPR is definitely on the way up. And obviously for myself, it'll just be fantastic to be part of what's going on at QPR and what's going to happen in the future, hopefully.
Joel, I've often wondered with centre halves, is it a bit like being the drummer in the band? Sometimes with forwards being like lead singers who come on, they don't do all the setting up, they don't do all the hard work, they just come in, they have a wee tap in, straight around the stage for a bit, get all the glory, and you guys make one mistake and they hammer you. Is that what it feels like sometimes?
Yeah, obviously it is, but because the Championship is such a tough league, you're sort of getting, no matter who you're playing against, you're sort of always getting pounded. Like, games are just back and forth, it seems like. And strikers can sort of go missing for like 89 minutes, pop up and score a goal, and I guess that's just what they get paid for. And it's disappointing sometimes when you're playing well and you make a mistake. I think that's been the case a few times this season. I think, especially for myself, where I've had a good game, made a mistake, and it might have cost us the goal or whatever, but that's just part of the job, really. And I'm so used to it now that you've just got to... I mean, football is just... It's not like a normal job where you might wait 6 months and you get a promotion and that's your high or whatever, and you have a low when you've had you might get sacked or whatever. Football is literally highs and lows from week to week, so you've just got to deal with that.
What you've got to do, though, Joel, my advice, by the way, is all the defenders get together, they go out and they leave the strikers outside while you're in the pub having all the drink, waving to them and saying, "Now you know what it feels like." just bear that in mind.
Hi, Joel. It's Simon again. When Jimmy was last on the podcast, one of his kind of main points was that he was building the team around Cherry. Obviously, kind of Cherry has departed. How much of a loss, and kind of how long does it take you to adapt to that change?
Obviously, Cherry is a quality player, a real top player, but different. Cherry leaving has allowed other players to sort of come through and shine. Like, Ryan Manning, for example. There's nothing against Cherry, but we've got other players who can do what he can do. They just need their confidence. They just need their chance. And I think as one person sort of leaves and another one steps into his position, and all the best to him. I think obviously it's a completely different move for him and his family, but there's no reason why someone in our squad or someone we can bring in can't replace him and do exactly the same thing, really.
Joel, you've mentioned Ryan Manning. Up until a few months ago, he was kind of bombed out of the team and potentially was leaving QPR. How much has it been a surprise that he's kind of fought his way into the team, or was that always expected among the players?
Yeah, well, I've only been in for a short while, and I played in a reserve 23s game against Nottingham Forest. And Ryan played in centre midfield in front of me, and I thought that he was doing really well in the game. He was actually subbed off in the game, and I sort of questioned that a bit. I was like, why has he been subbed off? Because we sort of needed him to stay on the pitch because he was getting the ball down and passing. And I really thought on that day that you could tell he was like controlling the game himself, and he's sort of like a level above that standard or that level. But to me, it's been no surprise at all, really. The way he trains and what the things he can do on the ball. For his age, he's a confident lad, and I think he's a top player, and he's only going to get better as well.
Joe, a couple of different questions on Twitter. My name's James has asked who would come first in an Ironman between Pavel and Jamie Mackie.
An Ironman.
I think they've said marathon actually, but I think the question is generally who's quicker, faster, fitter, because they both look pretty on it.
I think, to be honest, Jamie Mackie would try a lot harder, but, and he'd try and sort of get to the finish line and keep going because he literally doesn't stop. He's just a workhouse, Jamie. But Pavel, it's a breeze for him. I don't know what he's been taking or whatever, but. Yeah, everything's just too easy for him at the minute, and that obviously he can get better and better for us as well. I think I'd have to go with Pavel. Yeah.
I was just going to ask Joel, Pavel? Does he seem like he's enjoying his time in London? And do you think he'd like to stay at the club like longer than his initial loan?
Yeah, definitely. I'd hope so. I think with Pavel, obviously the language barrier is massive as well, but he really tries. Like around the training ground, he really tries to get involved in jokes and stuff, and I think that's helped him as well. Do you know what I mean? I think the lads have sort of taken to him as well, and he's fit in the team really well, and yeah, it'd be great for him to stay. I mean, he's been brilliant for us so far.
We've got a question from Chris Charles, who's usually sat here with us. Is he disappointed? Are you disappointed, Joel, that you don't have your own song yet? He was thinking Joel Lynch to the tune of Dolly Parton's Jolene. What do you think?
Yeah, well, through my whole career, I've always had that shout, people saying, why is your song not that? But I don't see at the minute any reason for people to start singing my name. Do you know what I mean? That'd be nice for the Joel Lynch song, but I'd have to come up. I need to score a goal or something. Do you know what I mean? Get the fans going.
Consider it done.
We'll start it, Joel. Okay, you join in on the pitch as well, like Bertram does with the songs. But one thing it is interesting. Do you think that being at QPR, having the higher profile, will help your international career at all?
Sorry, you keep cutting up.
Sorry. Do you think that being at QPR and being in London and being a sort of hopefully next season when we start going up the table will actually help you with your international career?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's obviously it's a big club. Do you know what I mean? I think being in London and sort of being I think there's more, you get talked about more. I think if you're doing well, you're sort of more in the limelight being down in London. And obviously, and playing well and playing every week for QPR should only help me with that. So, I mean, I'd really like to get back into the world squad. I think it's such a close knit squad now with the way they've done well, and I think the squad's pretty much stayed the same for a long while now. But it'd be great for me to get back into that setup, and that's exactly what I want to do, really.
Joe, final question. This is from Martin on Twitter. He's asked, Lynchy, you look like a double hard B ******. Are you? I'm going to build on that. I'm going to ask a question on that. You and Nedum and Nua are stood in the pub.
Yeah.
A pint gets spilt. You two squaring up next to each other, arguing over said pint. Who wins?
In a fight?
Quickest to the bar.
I think seriously, if we had an actual fight, I think Nedum would absolutely kill me. But
he's a big lad, isn't he, Joel?
He's an absolute monster, a machine. But I don't think either of us would. We're not really the type of guys to fight. I think what you see from both of us. I think what you see from me shouting my head off on the pitch and stuff is just my passion for the game, wanting to win. I think that's it really. But just a big softie really. I think off the pitch.
What about you and
So
Pavel?
yeah, I'd say Nedden. Oh yeah, I'll kill Pavel. Kill him.
Very good.
Well, Joe, I tell you what, it's good to see someone like yourself on the pitch bringing the players together. It's much needed, and I tell you what, we're looking forward to next season, finishing this season as hard as we can, and next season really going for it. And it's good to have some guys who look like they enjoy playing together again on the pitch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Thanks, Joel.
Cheers, Joel.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Please come
Thank
on
you.
again.
Good luck.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Okay. Nice fella.
Yeah.
I mean, we say that when they're nice, and when they're not, we just don't say anything. We carry on, don't we?
Who's been on that has been? Can you remember anyone who I haven't really liked that's been on his interviews?
Yeah, I'll say it. We didn't enjoy interviewing Terry Fenwick, did we? We didn't enjoy it. He didn't give us very much.
It's not just him seeming like a nice guy, but he actually kind of he just has the right attitude as well. Not only on the phone, but on the pitch, it seems as well. And
Yeah.
it's been pretty
I
solid
don't
for
think
us.
he got my rock and roll analogy. I think I might have screwed that up.
Maybe not.
I think he was a bit confused by your pub analogy. Yeah.
No, what
Having
it
a-
means is because they're always the strikers always. Listen, it's like a rock and roll band, isn't it? Strikers always have all the fun. They always make the headlines. Always in the. Yet the other guys set everything up. They work their arses off. They put their bodies on the line for every gig. But the singer gets the glory. So all I was trying to say is, don't let them in the pub. Let them feel. Messed it up.
Yeah,
But then
he's
he'd
been-
go to another pub. Sorry, Simon.
So he's been
won't be
relatively in and out the side, but you can tell from that conversation he has a passion to actually get in the team and he wants to play. Unlike the kind of relative kind of second string mercenaries we've had over the last few years who,
Now, there's a list.
if they weren't getting in the team, cash the cheque and get on with it.
But that's because he's playing football for the team and not for himself, and that came across in that interview really strongly. And that's the difference. You know, we've had two, and that's a good thing. Holloway won't put up with that sort of player anyway. Them players will be gone. And I think it's positive, and it's good what he's saying. And also when he says that he's come here to, even at his age, to get higher, to improve, to go. It shows you that QPR is still looked upon as a club where you can go forward. And that's a good thing. We often think of it as a club that where people are ending their careers thanks to Hughes and Redknapp and stuff.
Well, that's what happened that's what happens when you start recruiting the right players. It is because for some players it is a place where you end your career, where it was when they were offered silly money and they'd already played in the Champions League and stuff. But that's different now, isn't it?
Yeah, and I actually like the fact he's a natural born leader as well. You can tell that a mile away. He is a natural leader.
Saying that, should he take the captaincy next year then? Off
Yep.
Anua?
Without a shadow of a doubt. And that's not saying anything bad about our current captain. I just think that Joel's just a natural captain, and we need that on the pitch, I think. And perhaps it would help Ned's game as well if he's still here next season.
It's always a tricky one, isn't it? Because we talk about Ned Manure a lot, and him and the captaincy, and we value his contribution to the club, but I think we're all pretty agreed on that as far as the captaincy is concerned.
I think he's got a different style like being a captain. He's trying something different, and that's fine. But sometimes
But then I think the role of the captain in modern football is irrelevant.
I agree,
I
yeah.
think that it doesn't matter who has that armband. It doesn't mean anything anymore. The captain in football is the senior pro who sets the example at the club. Even if he didn't play most of the games last year, Clint Hill was the captain because he was the club captain. I think the club captain's really important. The team captain, I think, is irrelevant. Pretty much.
Sometimes you have someone at a club who is clearly a captain. He should be the captain both on and on the pitch. We don't really have that player at the moment. So, I mean, it gains more importance when you have that player, and he should be captain. But it's just a hard one to call at the moment.
Okay, ins and outs, because we're in January, we're in the transfer window.
Mostly outs at the moment.
Ariel, I'm glad we didn't get to actually have to make an effort to work out how to pronounce his name. He hasn't even been here long enough for us to pronounce his name right.
Well, he's only gone on loan, hasn't he?
Yeah, but he's not coming back, is he?
no.
I think his final nail in the coffin relatively was the Brentford game where he played in centre mid. I mean, that was an awful game. And relatively, he's not been back in the team since.
He's a bit of a headless chicken, I think.
To be fair, no one gave out that game with any credit, but I know what you mean, though. He got particularly done by the midfielder, the guy they got from Yeovil, I think. Absolutely destroyed him.
I mean, it doesn't relatively really matter that much. We didn't spend big money on him. He's not on big wages. If we let him go this transfer window, next transfer window, it's no relative loss.
I don't think you can accuse him of not trying, though. He just ran his heart out. It just didn't work out for him.
The trouble is, and I go back to my earlier point, is that especially when you come from overseas to the Championship, more so even the Premiership, it's bloody hard for these guys. It's a mad league. And sometimes you have to give players a season and a half to adjust. And unfortunately, football's getting like mash. You just add water and you're supposed to be the instant thing. And it shouldn't really happen now. I don't know. But anyway.
Instant mash you're talking about.
Yeah,
For you kids, there used to be a thing where powdered mashed potato, where you'd add water to it and you'd get mash out.
I bet you don't remember the adverts for the space ceiling.
For smash get mash. Yeah. For mash get smash.
Ah, you're older than you look.
We'll see Ariel again.
We will?
Yeah.
Probably the for hours.
Yeah. Glad you said that.
Which is a great thing.
Okay. Cherry, also the most protracted transfer out of QPR 2 weeks after he went to China. It was confirmed yesterday.
I mean, I'm unsure of the Cherry transfer. In some ways, he is our best player. He's had the most assists, second highest goals, highest pass success rate. But
the highest amount of assists out of not a lot of goals, and the highest amount of goals out of not a lot of goals isn't a lot.
But if you're not actually impacting games and you're just playing kind of crab Carl Henry style football and not penetrating,
yeah, I mean,
it's not a massive loss.
He scored 4 goals this season in a lot of games. I don't know how many exactly, like pushing on 20. 3 of them were penalties, 1 a free kick. So he hasn't actually scored any from open play. I think he's just not been good enough this season. To get 4 million for him, I think is brilliant.
I think he suffered from the Desma effect. We get players, we overhype them, people expect too much of them, then the player, everyone expects too much to build a team around him, and the player's still trying to bed in. And I think it wasn't really his fault. A lot of it, he was massively overhyped, and he didn't really bet into the player he should be. He'll probably go to China and do really well, but that won't help us. And we got our money back, so that's all good.
Did Jimmy's philosophy and style of play kill him relatively?
It killed me.
Well, he did okay under Jimmy last season. He scored 10 goals. It wasn't all Jimmy.
He's gone to China. It's where he's always wanted to play since he was a boy. He was a boyhood fan of wherever he's gone. What?
Did I find weird about the Chinese thing, to be honest with you, is all these Premier League fans moaning about players go to China. I mean, why do you think they got players in the Premier League in the first place? Because he played big wages. It's ridiculous.
I think what's kind of the end of the day, we've made 2 million quid on him. I mean, not massive money when we spent £10 million on Chris Samba a few years ago, but it's another signing where we're actually making money.
And Polto made money on him as well. I mean, I wasn't as happy to see him go, even though his goal return wasn't very good for a striker, but he was a fan's favourite, I thought, because he put in a good shift.
Do I unfollow him on social media? What do I do?
I say you should keep following him just for the fashion tips.
And for when he comes back in the River Hours. Joking, by the way. Anyone listening from the club?
I don't want to slag the club off for doing that. This isn't a but. I want to slag them off, but because I think it's a great initiative. But I do think there should be a kind of minimum requirement, and I would say 100 games sounds about right, doesn't it, to be in the Forever Hours?
I'd like to see Ian Dawes brought into it and Gary Banners, which I'm sure they're working at.
I'd like to see a Forever Open All Hours if you've been on 5 shows.
That's true. You should do that. Induct someone into the Forever Open All Hours.
My fear is that at a League Cup game next year, on a cool night when no one there, they're going to introduce Gus Season and Bob Malcolm. That terrifies the life out of me.
I mean, in relation to the player that we won't name being inducted into the Forever Hours,
Peter Ramage, I'll name him.
I was going to be polite, but 68 games, 2 goals, 2 seasons. The one season he was here, which was kind of our most successful season, relative memory of getting promoted. He was relatively injured all season, so I just don't get it at all. I mean, apparently a very good club ambassador, community work.
That's the thing. Yeah, maybe we're missing the point a little bit, and it's all about people who are advocates for the clubs, ambassadors off the pitch a little bit as well. So.
He was very, very good off the pitch. It has to be said, to be fair. He nothing was ever a trouble for him from what I heard, and he's really sound bloke. So
I think this gets filed under it's not the biggest deal in the world, is it?
No, but if please don't bring back Steve Morrow. please. Pretty please.
Stefan Mbia.
Or Steve Slade, please.
George Santos.
George
We
Coleshaw.
should start a club called Definitely Not Forever Ours.
If Mark Hitley comes on that pitch, I swear to God, I'm out the ground. Only saying. Again, for those under 35, Mark Hitley was shite. Carry on.
I think we're at the Ours end.
No, we haven't talked about one thing yet.
What's that, Paul?
Carl Henry, overreaction, underreaction.
So for those of you who missed it, Carl Henry tried to throw Ian Holloway under the bus on social media by explaining that Ian Holloway came in and, what did he say?
Disrespected
he
previous managers.
previous managers, slagged them off. I disagreed. That's why Ollie and I have fallen out. Thoughts?
Well, I don't think you should be writing that on social media, but also equally, you know, why was he reacting to that? I think it was a comment from Holloway talking about
Holloway
he shouldn't have been given a new contract.
Yeah, that was just.
But, I think all of it should just be kept in house.
Well, the thing is, I don't think Holloway. I thought it was a big do about nothing. When I got involved in loads of arguments on Twitters and was unfollowed by loads of people, and that's fine. And I probably got carried away. But the way I looked at it, from going back into it in a sober moment, was that Holloway didn't really
Drinking coffee tonight.
Yes, indeed. Holloway just said, I wouldn't have given the contract. He was looking to get the contract, but he's a decent lad, decent player. It's just his age is against him, in my opinion, sort of thing. Carl Henry comes out about the previous managers. One point I will make about Carl, to be fair, Jimmy Floyd played Carl Henry all the time. The fans couldn't really work it out, and in the game that Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank needed Carl Henry to stand up, be counted. Carl was really busy trying to get himself sent off as quickly as he possibly could at Forest away. So, instead of Holloway being disrespectful to the managers, some would say that didn't really help the cause either. But big do about nothing. Carl will move on. He's had a decent career at QPR. Where people, I never really rated him highly. I think he'll be in the Forever Ours club, perhaps. But I do love the Forever Ours club. But he did.
About the fourth dig we've had
it's
at
a
that.
joke. It's a joke. He did well enough, but he won't be thought of as a legend. Is what I'm trying to say.
I mean,
or is that harsh?
At the end of the day, I'm not really concerned about the off-field antics. I'm kind of more concerned what's on the pitch. And in relation to that, I can count Carl Henry's forward passes on my hands.
You said you come to QPR for the entertainment and the football. Was there not a point somewhere around 1998, 1999, 2000 where you thought, not sure about this, not sure I'm going to get what I've come for here?
Once you go, you can't leave, can you, unfortunately?
I'm just trying to think of that Steve Slade, George Coleshaw moments.
All inductees into the Not Forever Ours club.
Tony Scully.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Oh no, Tony Scully gets inducted. Cracker of a goal against Palace.
He scored an absolute blinder away to Oxford that people don't realise, and we got battered, and that's probably why. And that was the day I think the manager had his windscreen put in. Anyway, that was a great goal.
What's your favourite ever QPR goal? Like the goal that got you the most excited? So not like Bobby Zamora, you can't pick that one, but just your favourite goal.
I mean, I guess it's obvious, but Furlong playoff semi-final, to go to Cardiff. Not the greatest goal in the world, but the biggest reaction I've ever seen at Loftus Road.
Yeah.
Let's be up there. Hyder Helgson penalty against Chelsea. That was fun.
Michael Robinson against Chelsea in the League Cup run that never happened.
I remember
that was special.
We had a striker called Sammy Kojo. Do you remember him?
I remember Sammy Kojo.
He looked like he just couldn't run properly, but I remember when he scored once, I think it was just after the start of the second half. It might have been against Ipswich, or I might have got that wrong, and he went on an incredible run and just smashed it in front of the loft. I remember thinking, great goal.
There's also the time that Les Ferdinand took on Chelsea single-handedly and smashed into bits. That was good. Then there was a 6-0. The Mark Falco scored quite a few decent goals for us that were volleys. But is any better than Sinclair's overhead kick? That's the benchmark, isn't it?
But it's also about the game, the occasion. Yes, that's an incredible goal, but it's a bit like what Simon said. You know, Paul Furlong's goal wasn't the most spectacular goal, but it's also how it made everyone feel. And I'm not saying the occasion of Trevor Sinclair's was slightly underwhelming, which makes it a brilliant technical goal and probably the most brilliant QPR goal we've ever seen.
Zamora,
but it's not like the.
No.
I mean, Zamora, I genuinely felt like this must be what it's like to have a heart attack.
You also forget
It's what I was thinking when Zamora scored.
To be fair, you would go back to Hillsborough with Gallen scored as well.
Yeah.
That everyone just reacted so
Yeah.
well. It's a really tricky
My
one.
favourite was Andy Gray's against Man United 1989 in front of the Loft. I think we won 2-1 or 3-2,
3-2,
something
I think
like
it was.
that. And he scored an unbelievable just rocket in the top right-hand corner.
He scored 2 like that.
He scored 2 exactly the same that night, and like the roof nearly came off.
Talking of goals,
Sorry.
We are the second lowest scorers in the league. Transfer window is about to shut. We've sold Poulter, relatively haven't brought anyone in. Is that a real risk for the club?
It is, because if Silla gets injured, we're absolutely buggered, aren't we?
Nah,
Who are we going to play up front on their
it'll
own?
be fine.
The one thing you have to remember is Holloway has signed 2 players in this transfer window already. Well, he's signed 3. He signed Loire, but he's effectively signed 2 players because he's got Mackie and he's found Manning. And they are 2 extra players that we didn't have before.
Yeah.
And he's got them at the start of the transfer window, if you want to extend the analogy. And I'm not saying Mackie's going to be, 12, 15, 18 goals a season, but he'll chip in with a few. I think we probably do need a striker, but let's not forget him. He gives him another option.
But to be honest with you, we're not going to go up. We're not going to go down. For once, the club have been sensible in the transfer window and not going mad, loading us with a whole lot of players we're not going to get rid of. So
Well,
let's
that's
just
the
survive
point.
this.
Exactly. The signings in this window, if there are any, I'm sure there will be a few. They have to be signings that make sense beyond the end of the season as well, and I'm sure they will.
Sorry.
We've been going for ages. That was the reason why you were interrupted. Was Harry the engineer saying 50 minutes,
I would say,
which is about 15 more than we're supposed to do.
The other thing you've got to look at in context is, with the confidence getting bigger and everything else, the squad's getting tighter. Let's build this squad togetherness. Let's build it and go forward with this, and then bring people into it, which will probably be next season. Maybe have to write the season off a little bit, but at least we know there's going to be an end product.
Oz End.
All right.
Who wants to say anything? Anything, everything that we haven't talked about yet? I have one very simple thing to say. Thank you for the club for providing us with Joel Lynch for a brilliant, insightful interview. Thank you very much. That's my Oz End.
And I'm sorry about my jokes about the Ferrara club. I am grateful, and I think it's a brilliant incentive, and I think it's marvellous. And I'm sorry if my sense of humour is
Who
a
are you
bit
talking
crap.
to, Paul?
Myself.
Right. Okay.
But that's not my R's end.
It's banter
I
about
don't
the
do
Forever
banter.
Oz club.
Do you know, someone did that? My daughter went to the game on Saturday, and there was a couple of Fulham fans trying desperately to be Danny Dyer. And really, I got a football, we just got brilliant. We're on the Banter Express, woo! And I was like, oh, please, Jesus. And Lily went, I bet the Fulham fans, and she was right, they were. I was so pleased they weren't Rangers
They
fans.
said that on the Banter Express.
Yes, we're pulling
An imaginary steam train, yeah.
Ah, do you know what I mean? Anyway, it was. But do you know what? My Oz end of the show is quite weird, because I took my daughter, and it was bloody brilliant. It's so nice to bring your child into QPR, because she's finally getting it now. After all these years, she's realised we're not losing all the time, and it was a brilliant atmosphere. And there's a brilliant picture my mate Alan sent me, which was a picture of a child holding his father's hand, saying, "Me and Dad love QPR," and that's QPR that I love, and I love that picture. And it's so nice to bring your child in, because they need to replace us. We will die. They're
All right.
they need to take our seats. Well,
Let's
we
not go
will.
morbid.
Well,
All right.
the death gets us all. No one's beaten it yet, but it's great to see that. It's just a really wonderful feeling going with your child to football. I've been pretty ignorant up until now that how good it actually feels to see your child singing QPR songs and enjoying themselves, but it was brilliant.
3 wins
So-
and a draw. That's what happens. 3 wins and
No,
a
it's
draw,
not.
and it does
It's
this.
because it's so much a part of our lives. See, QPR fans are different from so many other fans. I know everyone thinks the club's special, but to us, QPR, we don't wear shirts. Most of us go to games. We go to away games. We turn up. We support our club. And that's the next generation, and I'm freaking proud that she's one of them. Sorry,
Simon.
My
Very good
end
point.
is
that's right. I just
it's
thought Fulham
more-
fans are crap as well. Sorry.
is a thank you to the podcast. I'm going over 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah.
I listen on a weekly basis, and I know other people do, and it does bring a kind of a connection to the club and brings people together in some ways. So well done, everyone, and keep going.
Thank you.
Did we
Thank
get in the
you.
River Arts Club, do you reckon?
Season 6. We're at season 6, everyone. If you want to listen to old episodes, you can go on our website. Chris, you've taken your headphones off, but you haven't done the R's End. You are allowed to say you don't have an R's End.
I am. I just want to dedicate it to Mark Bertram. Thank him for his passion on the touchline. I hope he's on the touchline for the next few games.
Very good. Right. Okay. So we're recording this Thursday. This is going to go out Friday morning. Next week we're not here Monday. We're recording on Tuesday next week, so we'll be a day late. And between now and then, we will have played the team we're playing on Saturday, which is Burton.
And we would have
Which is
signed.
Burton.
I wonder where you were going with that one.
So I couldn't remember who we're playing.
Burton.
We're playing Burton. So predictions. We will finish off with predictions for Saturday.
I'm
Cool.
going. Oh, sorry. I'll jump in front of you, Paul. I'm going
Work away.
a very boring 0-0, unfortunately,
No.
to both the second lowest goal scoring teams in the league. They're a bit unsettled. Obviously, Clough, who knows? I mean, hopefully I'm not being too boring and it might be entertaining, but I haven't got much joy, unfortunately.
You're not boring, Simon. That's fair enough. You're allowed to have your opinion. Don't get him on again.
I actually think.
Thanks, Paul.
You're more than welcome.
I actually think we'll win. Well, on Saturday, 3-1. I'm going for.
Paul.
I think we'll hammer them. I think it's all. But I said that about Fulham. I was nearly right. Just
Who
three
was right about Fulham?
Who said 1-0?
Me.
Said it.
Me.
Oh, God,
Me.
I thought it might have been.
Me.
Oh, it's all me with you, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yes, but one thing I will say about Saturday, if I may just finish off with this, and I will promise not to say another word.
I'll let you finish off. I'm going to go 2-0. Go on, finish.
I think it'll be
To QPR.
It'll be 3-0 or more because Burton can't defend away from home, and we need someone to take our frustration out on. And I think they'll be the ideal candidates.
That does mean scoring 3 goals.
I'm going to go for a Joel Lynch header.
Lynch, but listen, do you know what was so good about Saturday? Was everyone was singing. It was like the old Rangers. The atmosphere was brilliant. Fulham fans are a bit rubbish. This thing about waving your scarves in the air and pretending you're in Europe, kind of like Italy or Spain watching the game of football. So I didn't want to do a Brexit thing there. And it was a bit rubbish. And they came up the train station. This is true. They came up the train station singing, "We hate QPR," real full of anger. And a couple of lads just said to them, "Shut up," and they did.
I was slightly disappointed they didn't bring their legendary clappers.
They do exist. I have seen them.
So let me say to our listeners, we realise at this point that you were hoping the podcast would end about 15 minutes ago, and so were we. But it just went on and on and on. But it's been lovely speaking to
We're
you
like the
all
Jimmy
tonight.
Mackie version of the podcast.
Yeah, with the Jamie Mackie version of the podcast, we go on and on and on. That was it. Paul, thank you for the last word. Congratulations, you're the first inductee into the Open All Forever Arts Club. And
I'm dreading my text messages tomorrow.
this has been Open All Ours. We will see you next Tuesday night.
Come on, you Oz.
QPR, QPR, Response Rangers.